So you got your board. You can do this prior to building this, but the really nice thing is anytime Adam sends out a firmware update, you don't have to detach your board and go in there and take everything apart or deconstruct your board. You can just plug your board into your computer and update it. So I'm going to show you how you do that using the RetroLoop code machine, but also I'm going to show you when you get your device, you may need to update the firmware. Now, I believe if you're buying it while you're watching this video, you might get the latest. I think it's 2.8.5, the firmware. I'm actually on 2.8.3, so I'm going to update my firmware and show you guys how to do that and how simple it is. You are going to need the Arduino software, which I'll link in the description. As long as you have a PC or a Mac, it's super easy. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to head over here and I'm going to start showing you my Mac screen as well. So myretroloop.com. That's what I'm currently on, my RetroLoop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to first navigate over here to settings, and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and you're going to see that you have the latest firmware here. You want to check this. He also does a really good job of keeping notes telling you exactly what that firmware is. And you can see that you now have button debounce. And what that means is if you accidentally tap it twice, debounce will help negate that and keep it cleaner. I currently don't have that. I actually only misfired once, but having the option is really good, especially if you're coming from something that might be a little bit more firm when you press down. All right, so and you have all these other settings in here. I'm just going to download this. I already have it downloaded, so I'm not going to re-download it. But another thing to keep in mind here is the manual that's available. And when you click on the manual, you have all the information here in a 9-page document on how to get set up and how to use my RetroLoop here, or Loop Sync, or what's it called? RetroLoop Sync, how you use that software. All right, so now let me go into my Arduino software here, as you can see. And I'm going to go to File, Open, and it's on my desktop. So right there, I'm going to select Open. Okay. And there we go. So now I'm going to take, that's the firmware that you're seeing there. So let's plug this in. I'm going to allow it. And now I'm going to go up top to where I see, let's see, tools, board, Arduino board. It is a Leonardo. And I'm making sure, yep, these are the selected ones. So I go to the board, I make sure that I have Arduino Leonardo because that is what the RetroLoop is. And then I go into the port and I make sure I have the Arduino Leonardo selected as well. If you have other Bluetooth connections, you might see those. You just want to make sure that you're selecting the right one. Okay, so now I have my firmware. I'm ready to flash this and get this all set up and up to date. So I'm going to go over to Sketch. I'm going to select Upload. And then it's going to compile that sketch and update my firmware. Now, because I've used the sketching software, I went in and I saved my current configuration. So I'm going to be able to bring that back in. Another awesome feature that Adam had thought of. You may see errors like that. I shouldn't say they're errors. It just says low memory available. Problems may occur. Stability, it doesn't occur. So I haven't had any issues. All right, now that I have my firmware updated, I'm gonna head back over to myretroloop.com, and this is where I'm actually going to go in and change anything that I need to, and I'm gonna show you around on the website and the app, because this is where you're going to make all the changes. I said it before, but I'll repeat it again. If you're not using RGB buttons where you need to change the color of things, this part isn't necessary. Sure, you can update the firmware. That's probably important, like I just showed you how to do it, but you don't really need to go in and change things. However, let me show you around. I do have these 4 buttons, so I can customize these things. All I do is I have it already plugged in, and I'm just going to hit connect here, I'm going to choose my Arduino, and you're going to see that my colors pop up here. So this is grid view. If I switch here, I have your standard layout. And if I choose yellow, you can see that one turned yellow. Let's do neon green back. Red, this one turned red. I'm going to keep that at purple. All right, so you're able to customize those colors so easy. All I have to do is do that and then select save, and I'm able to just save it to my board. That's it. No coding involved at all. If I go over here, these are the actual buttons. You can see currently they're sending notes, except for A0 and A1. Those are sending CCs. Those are my two jacks over here. So for my expression pedals, I'm sending a CC 0 to 127. So 127 is the max, the on velocity, 0 is the off velocity. If I didn't do that, if I set it to 10 on my off, the delays would never, or whatever I have plugged in here, would never fully turn off. So just something to consider. I'm doing a 0 to 27. You could do a simple on off. So I guess a note would work, but the CC really works nice for me. So I keep those, but all the other ones are just notes. So all of these are different notes. And I can turn on, oh, I already have it on. So I have, yeah, this is feedback visual. So what's really nice is I can make sure all my notes are the right ones. Now, down here, these are all, even though the colors could match, like you see this one doesn't match, that doesn't matter because these are not RGB buttons. If they were RGB buttons, I would want to make sure those colors match, but honestly, has no bearing, does not matter. I could go ahead and change those. I can keep them as is. But here's some other cool things, the effects. So this will only pertain to your RGB buttons. So these guys up here, if you see rainbow, glitter, confetti, Cylon, juggle, BPM, breathe, chase, twinkle, wipe, static. Keep it the same. Down here, these are CC triggers. Why is that important? Well, when I hold down this button, when it's plugged into Loopy, it actually will undo everything, and I use the glitter effect. Maybe not the, oh, it's the confetti effect, I believe. It's one of these effects, the one I liked. And I send it to that, so while my board is clearing on Loopy, I'm getting this really cool animation. This is the cool part that makes everybody want to switch to RGB, myself included, but I ended up staying just with standard because it was really hard to see. Well, you watched the earlier videos. I'm not going to get back into that. You can also create groups. So this is really neat. If you had pixel groups, meaning you could divide, oh, these two, these two, these two. You could have 4 separate groups that could then send different things as well and do different effects. If you see the CC there, so I can change the CC command that would be sending that, and then those effects would pertain to that particular group, which is really neat. I don't have any use for that in the thing that I am, but Adam has some really cool ideas. He has some LED strips that he's going to be using with these groups. He's going to be doing a ton of videos as well. You're going to have to check those out because it's wild. I still don't fully understand what he does with it, but all I can say is it looks awesome. We have the presets. Like I said, I saved mine. I have the Galaxy one right here. That's when I click on it, automatically loads it. My Nickelodeon one loads it here. You see these lights. Let me go back because that's actually an important thing. So my idle light, let me scroll in. And technically, I only have 4 now. Okay, and this should actually be neon lime. I actually like the green better. I think I'm going to keep the green. Looks more green. Inactive and versus active. So I can make this 0. Yeah, now you can't even see it. I don't like that. So if I change this to 5 and then click out of it, you can see you barely see it. So I really wanted something that I could still see, even 20. And you can clearly see the active versus inactive. That was important. So you're able to adjust that. So you can see when I turn off my LED here, I don't get the feedback for these guys, which is, I want the feedback. Another important thing there. So now I'm liking this, that I don't have all that other stuff over here. Let me go back to grid view. Kind of cool. Oh, look at that. Look at how cool that grid view is. Because it actually shows me what's being selected on there. And even these. And then if I go up to my controls up here, I'm seeing all my different commands up there as well. So really awesome. He's made this so intuitive. And the fact that it's web-based means it's device agnostic. Now he is coming out with some apps, I believe, for the MacBook. I actually saw it in there. I haven't played around with it yet, so I'm not going to do it right this second. But he has some Windows and Mac things planned. Currently, you can't do this on the iPad. Something with their USB-C doesn't allow it. That's all that I have here for the RetroLoop side. I think the most important thing is when you're done, you hit disconnect to make sure that you don't just pull this out. You want to disconnect it, and then you're good to go. And then the next video I'm going to show you is the Loopy Pro template that I use live and how I set it up with all of this.